It's Thursday, October 25th. I'm in Billings, Montana. I've had a busy 7 days. Last Thursday, I picked up a load in Louisville, Kentucky, and that was on the 18th, and I delivered it on the 23rd in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I had, on the 17th, on Wednesday, I had caught up on laundry and cleaning house and getting the truck, everything situated and ready. And then took off for Canada. Went up through Iowa, South Dakota, Montana, Idaho, Washington, and then into British Columbia. Got unloaded up there Tuesday morning, and as soon as I got unloaded, I ran back across the border and had to go over to Post Falls, Idaho, which is right on the Washington-Idaho border near Spokane, Washington, to pick up a load going to Washington, D.C. for Monday morning, the 29th. Yesterday I ran about 530 miles over here to Billings, and I'm out of hours because I've run, 3,700 miles since last Thursday, and that only left me with 3 hours and 12 minutes of drive time until midnight tonight. Now, I could wait until midnight tonight and pick up the hours that I used last Thursday, but just by staying here an extra 6 hours till 6 o'clock Eastern time Friday morning, I'll get a restart, which gives me a fresh 70. So it's kind of 6 one way, half a dozen the other. It doesn't make a huge difference because, you know, I used about 10.5 hours every day, so I'll be picking up 10.5 or 11 hours every day. But this way, it just gives me a fresh restart. So then tomorrow, I'll take off and run over to, I think, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, spend the night, about 650 miles. And then run down just west of Indianapolis, another 20 or 30 miles. And then Sunday morning, I'm going to jump up about 4 in the morning and run over to the house in Columbus, Ohio, and take my kids to see Phineas and Ferb at the Ohio Theater. That should be a trip. And then I've got to go to bed as soon as the show's over because I've got to leave about midnight to get to D.C. Now, normally what I would do in these situations is go into the receiver, the night before. Get in there at, 10, 11 o'clock, midnight, whatever, and just sleep there. But the place I'm delivering is within, a couple miles of, the Pakistani embassy, the vice president's home, and the Secret Service. And so if I roll up and pull over on the street at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'll end up having a very unpleasant conversation with the Secret Service, and so I'll just pass on that. So I'm just going to leave and drive straight through the night so that I basically just get there in time for the unload, let them pull all this furniture off, and then I'm going to head for the truck stop and go to bed. It's been I'm telling you, man, if you ever want a good vacation, and I know it's hard for, I know it's hard. I probably take for granted what I get to do for a living because of the things that I get to see. But the northwestern corner of the United States is just absolutely some of the most beautiful scenery you'll ever see in your life. I tried to take pictures of it along the way, and I put them up on Instagram. But pictures just don't do it justice. It's just the scenery and is amazing, and I use the term aesthetically diverse to describe Washington State because one minute you're driving along and it kind of looks like you're in Arizona or New Mexico, and then you climb a hill and it looks like you're in the Grand Canyon, and then the next thing you know, you're going straight up to 6,000 feet, and you're everywhere around is steep snow-capped mountains with pine trees everywhere, and then you drop down into Seattle. I mean, the Washington State's just amazing, and Montana and Idaho is as well. So if you ever get a chance and you want to do a good vacation where you can, you know, just take a couple weeks and drive up, just drive up to Seattle and back. You know, if you're ever crazy enough to do it, just shoot me an email or whatever, and I'll give you all the routing advice you need. It's snowing here now, so don't do it in like November and December. So that's pretty much it. I'll have I think I'm 2,300 miles out right now from the no, that's not right. I'm about 2,000 miles out right now from the delivery in DC. So that means from the 18th to the 29th, I will have covered about 5,700 miles, and that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days. So I've been staying after it. Now, I prefer these runs like this, these long, because it's really easy. And I hate the fact that I'm sitting here out of hours right now, because, you know, there's really nothing to. You just get up and you drive, and you drive and you drive and you drive, and then you go to bed, and then you get up the next day and you do it. There's no loading and unloading and backing in and dealing with traffic. You know, there's some of these days where, you know, I may run a 200 or 300 mile day and absolutely be just wiped out, exhausted from dealing with the stupid traffic and traffic jams and construction and picking up and delivering. And on these runs like this, you know, you just get up and drive 500 or 600 miles and shut it down, go to bed. So that I find that kind of funny when you have to deal with these idiots that are lobbying Congress to take hours away from us because they're scared to death of that 11th hour. Well, your logic doesn't work. I mean, yeah, I guess if I'm running 11 hours up and down the East Coast, picking up and delivering and doing a bunch of stops, then yeah, it makes sense. But like this, you know, they say, well, you're the most dangerous in that 11th hour. Well, that's just crap. It's just false. There's no bearing of truth to that argument, because tomorrow I'm going to get up at 6 o'clock Eastern time, which is going to be 4 a.m. here, and I'm going to drive 11 hours. And I'm going to be just as fresh on the first hour as I am on the 11th hour, because I'm going to crank up and I'm going to finish my Brad Thor CIA thriller audiobook, and I'm going to drive all day. And then when I get to the end, I'm going to crawl right back there in the bed, and I'm going to crash for 10 hours, and I'm going to get up, and I'm going to do it again, you know. And by that time, my Thor book will be finished, and I'll probably dive into the new John Grisham novel, or maybe listen to some Rick and Bubba, or I don't know, it'd be Friday, maybe some NASCAR, I don't know. But, you know, what's the point of me even saying anything? I'm just a stupid, lowly truck driver. I don't know anything. So that's our trucker's log for today. I'll try to do a better job keeping up, but, you know, the one thing about these long days is it doesn't give me much time to do much of anything. And you know, and I'll tell you, when I get to the end of a 600-mile day, I'm ready for bed. I don't give a crap. I might, you know, pull up Hulu on my iPad and watch a 40-minute show or something, but most of the time I'm just going to get into bed and crash and sleep like a baby. So that's it. See if I can get into Washington, D.C. without a bunch of drama, and hopefully Hurricane Sandy's not going to drop 2 feet of snow. I'd really appreciate that. So that's it for next time. Keep up with me on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com American Truck Driver, and Twitter.com/truckinzar. See you next time.